Her health started to decline, and her lymphedema worsened during a very emotional and stressful period. It seemed to be tied to what she was going through internally, carrying memories from the past, including painful moments involving Wendy when she was vulnerable and calling for her mother, even after her mother had already passed. There were many situations like this throughout her career, some too difficult to even speak about, and now it all feels like it's coming back around in a full circle. As the parent of a 16-year-old, a kind, talented young man I once met backstage, I understand just how much responsibility and influence certain people carry. Recently, Joe Rogan has reportedly revealed troubling claims suggesting that Diddy may be connected to Wendy Williams' sudden disappearance from the public eye. Over the last few months, Wendy has almost completely vanished, and many are now wondering why the warning signs weren't noticed earlier. This situation is serious enough that it's now becoming the focus of a documentary. The story being told paints a dark picture, parties filled with excess, manipulation, and surveillance, where powerful figures allegedly pull the strings behind the scenes. It is even being compared to tactics once used by Jeffrey Epstein, where people were placed in situations they could later be controlled by. Cameras, substances, influence, and silence. All part of a disturbing pattern, if true. Meanwhile, Wendy's personal life has unraveled. She has faced severe financial problems, with her bank accounts reportedly frozen because officials claimed she was not mentally fit to manage her own money. She was placed under a court-ordered guardianship in 2022. Her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, said Wendy's diagnosis of frontotemporal dementia and aphasia left her unable to care for herself or her finances. Doctors and courts believe the condition was permanent, but Wendy has continued to insist that she is still aware, still present, and capable of making her own choices, even as her voice was ignored. It was also clear that she had been struggling with alcohol, which only added to the concerns around her health and decision-making. At one point, Wells Fargo stepped in and froze all of her accounts, then petitioned the court to assign temporary financial control over her assets. Suddenly, a stranger was placed in charge of her life and money, someone Wendy did not know or trust. From the outside, the situation looked more like a takeover than a rescue, leaving many people deeply unsettled. And perhaps the most frightening part of all is this simple truth. If something like this can happen to Wendy Williams, it could happen to anyone. Wendy has no real connection to the woman now running her life. This person was never her financial advisor, yet somehow she now controls Wendy's money, her living space, and her freedom. Wendy recently appeared on The Breakfast Club with her niece, Alex, to explain what was really happening. Wendy made one thing very clear. She does not believe she is mentally impaired. What she does believe is that she is being held like a prisoner. The room she's living in is tiny. It has just a bed, a chair, a television, a bathroom, and one window facing another building. That small space has become her entire world. Because of this, Wendy has started reaching out to people she trusts to speak for her, since she says she has no real power to speak up for herself anymore. To many watching, the situation is frightening and confusing. People are asking how something like this can be legal unless she is a danger to herself or others. Now, new medical tests are reportedly challenging her earlier diagnosis of frontotemporal dementia. If that diagnosis was wrong, then everything the guardianship was built on suddenly becomes questionable. Was Wendy placed under strict control, without clear medical proof? Was someone trying to silence her? Wendy made a lot of powerful enemies during her career. She was known for speaking openly, even when it put her at risk. One person often mentioned in these conversations is Sean Diddy Combs. For years, Wendy talked on air about behavior she believed was troubling. She didn't claim to know everything, but she heard stories from people inside the industry and formed her own views from that information. Some people in entertainment say Diddy held a powerful grip over artists and careers connected to him. According to Wendy's own past stories, once he was unhappy with someone, that person's opportunities could disappear. He was, in her words, not someone you wanted as an enemy, and Wendy never backed down from speaking. There's even an alleged incident from her radio days where she claimed a girl group signed to Diddy was encouraged to confront her physically after she spoke about him on air. Wendy recalled one tense moment when, after finishing a show, the group was waiting downstairs. People stood around expecting something to happen. She refused to back down, but a boyfriend's unexpected arrival diffused a tense moment outside a radio station. It felt almost fated. Throughout her career, Wendy challenged powerful figures, including Sean Diddy Combs, making many uneasy. Now, as her own freedom is questioned, people wonder if truth-telling made her a target. During the heated East Coast versus West Coast era, a story began to circulate that a photo existed of Diddy's child being held by Suge Knight, something that bad boy allegedly did not want the public to see. According to accounts from that time, the child was with his mother on the West Coast, where she had been hired for work connected to people in the death row circle. While there, she was reportedly invited into Suge Knight's office, treated well, and welcomed. Rumors spread that a photo may have been taken of him holding the baby, and once that information reached the East Coast, it caused serious panic and anger behind the scenes. The newsroom was shaken. The phones didn't stop ringing. Wendy had started teasing that she had major news coming, something connected to Justin Combs. Her show was massive at the time, one of the most talked about segments in radio. But before she could reveal what she knew, the story allegedly disappeared. People who worked in the station claimed that Diddy used his power to demand she be removed from Hot 97, threatening to pull his music from the rotation if she stayed. Soon after, Wendy was gone. That moment changed everything. From then on, it became clear just how dangerous it was to expose powerful people in the industry, and Wendy never forgot that lesson. Now, years later, as she sits in a small room with no real control over her life, people are starting to connect the dots. Was her hardest punishment not sudden, but slow? And was it tied to the enemies she made by telling stories nobody else had the courage to say? It's a question that still doesn't have an answer. But one thing is clear, Wendy Williams has never been afraid of the truth. When the rumors started, everything moved fast. Phones were ringing everywhere. He got a warning and immediately began calling people in charge at Hot 97. The street team heard about it. Executives heard about it. Panic spread through the building. People rushed out of the office on 19th Street, some in cabs, some in cars, some even running, all heading toward Hudson Street, where the station was, trying to stop a photo from being made public through Wendy Williams' show. Looking back now, history seems to show that this moment played a major role in Wendy being let go from Hot 97. After that, she had to leave the city to keep her career going. In a strange way, that painful situation may have also pushed her toward becoming the bigger, more successful Wendy Williams people later came to know. But that day, that image, that tension, it shook everyone involved. Nothing about it felt right. Not on a personal level, not behind closed doors, and not in the larger power structure of the industry. Many believe the pressure connected to that photo was one of the main reasons she lost her job. Wendy later hinted on air that she had access to another picture involving Diddy that could damage his image. Before she could ever explain more, she was fired. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, has also claimed that Diddy was afraid of what Wendy knew and wanted her removed from the situation completely. As for the mysterious photo, accounts vary, but it reportedly happened during a trip where an immature joke turned into an embarrassing moment that was captured by people nearby. That image was said to have been sent to Wendy. Whether it was meant as a joke or something more serious, the fear was that Wendy had proof of something he didn't want seen. According to those close to the situation, she showed the email to others. When word got back to him, he allegedly contacted Hot 97 and told them that if she was not removed, the station would no longer receive music or industry support from him or people connected to him. Faced with that kind of pressure, the station chose business over Wendy, and she was gone before he even returned to New York. That moment changed the course of her career forever, and it also sent a clear message about how much power certain people in the industry truly have. By the time he returned from Los Angeles, the damage had already been done. Wendy was gone from Hot 97. There were talks of a possible boycott, too much pressure on the station, and the situation was moving so fast that nobody even had time to process it. Almost overnight, Wendy was transferred to a station in Philadelphia, and just like that, her time at Hot 97 was finished. Years later, Wendy would reflect on that moment as an example of what can happen when you try to expose powerful people. She believed she was punished for speaking on something that others were afraid to touch. Looking back now, some see it as the start of a long chain of events that would follow her career for years. There were many moments in the past that seemed confusing at the time but now feel connected, as if everything is coming back around in a strange, full-circle way. According to more recent reports, Wendy is mentally aware and capable, but much of the public still believes she is not. That has only made people question the entire situation even more. The number of coincidences feels too large to ignore for many observers. And Wendy is not the only public figure people feel this has happened to. Others who have spoken out in the industry have also faced heavy pushback. Some former associates of Diddy, including his previous bodyguard, Gene Deal, have said that he tried to control the narrative and silence people he believed were dangerous to his image. There were also claims that he attempted to reach out to individuals for support or statements on his behalf, as controversy around him grew. At the same time, serious allegations from others, including Cassie, shifted the entire public opinion and caused many of his supporters to step away. People who once defended him went silent. Friends distanced themselves. And when bail was denied, even with a large amount of money offered, it became clear that the situation was being taken very seriously by the authorities. There were also reports that former members of his groups were pressured to drop legal actions, and that attempts were made to contact others connected to him, including people who had previous conflicts with him, in order to quiet the storm. For some, those actions only made him look more guilty in the public eye. Wendy's personal life wasn't any easier behind the scenes. For years, her world was incredibly limited. She went to work, came home, closed the blinds, ate, watched TV, and repeated the same cycle over and over. She joked about it on air, but in reality, she had very little freedom, few real friends, and almost no life outside of her show. When her husband, Kevin, found out she was thinking about leaving television and returning to radio, things began to change. According to reports, he held private conversations with production staff and told them about her plans before she had the chance to. After that, Wendy felt as if control of her life and her choices were slowly being taken from her, and from there, the situation only continued to spiral. For a long time, whispers circulated behind the scenes about the forces shaping Wendy's world. According to certain accounts, people close to her, along with corporate and financial entities tied to her career, were allegedly exploring ways to place her under a conservatorship. The theory was that if she remained medicated just enough to continue working, control over her life and finances could be maintained without the public knowing the full picture. Not long after, viewers began noticing subtle but unsettling changes in her on-air presence. Some days she appeared unusually fatigued, disoriented, or physically unsteady. Many people assumed her health was simply declining, but others believed a more troubling explanation might exist. One controversial claim suggested that she may have been administered something without her knowledge while at work. The daily cup of tea on her desk, a familiar and almost symbolic part of her routine, became a focal point of suspicion. Though she handled her own tea bag and cough drops, she wasn't the one preparing the hot water that was brought to her set. This led some to question whether someone behind the scenes could have tampered with what she drank. Those who believe this version of events argue that whatever was allegedly added began to take a serious toll on her body. They link her worsening health conditions, including swelling, confusion, and emotional distress, to those supposed substances. Moments when she appeared to lose her balance or call out for her late mother became, in their eyes, warning signs that something was very wrong. Ironically, the same individuals who were initially thought to be part of this alleged plan were later pushed out of the inner circle. Eventually, control was believed to have shifted into the hands of powerful corporate and institutional figures connected to the production, the network, and financial systems around her brand. While none of these claims have been fully proven, the situation raises unsettling questions about fame, vulnerability, and how easily power can change hands when someone's health begins to fail. What remains undeniable is that Wendy's story serves as a sobering reminder of how fragile independence can be. In an industry driven by money, contracts, and control, rumors swirled for years about the forces shaping Wendy's career and personal life. Some believed that people around her, including production staff, networks, and financial institutions, had considered placing her under a conservatorship. The speculation suggested the idea was to keep her functioning at work while retaining control over her choices and finances. Around this time, Viewers noticed changes in Wendy's on-screen presence. Some days she seemed unusually tired, confused, or unsteady. Fans assumed she might be facing health issues privately, but the truth was far more complicated, involving the pressures of fame, scrutiny, and behind-the-scenes decisions. One focal point in these discussions was her daily routine on set. Every day, her desk held a cup of tea, her trademark accessory. She prepared the tea bag and cough drops herself, but she didn't handle the water. Some have speculated that those behind the scenes may have influenced her routine in ways the audience never saw. Regardless of what was happening off-camera, the pressure Wendy faced had real effects on her well-being. Ironically, those who initially may have orchestrated these plans reportedly lost control over time. Power shifted to others in the production and corporate chain, leaving Wendy caught in the middle of a system that seemed designed to manage her every move. What makes her story even more striking is that Wendy has always been financially savvy. She learned early from her mother to maintain her own independence, to know how to handle mortgages, bills, and financial responsibilities, and to never blindly co-sign loans for anyone, even long-term partners. She understood that financial knowledge is power, and she applied that wisdom throughout her career, carefully weighing deals and refusing opportunities that didn't align with her values. For Wendy, success has never been just about money. It's about quality of life, integrity, and planning for her family's future. This awareness may have made the idea of controlling her all the more appealing to outsiders. In the entertainment industry, power and influence are often wielded through complex networks of relationships. Wendy's journey shows resilience amid fame's pressures, highlighting the delicate balance between power, influence, and personal agency. Despite speculation and obstacles, she protected her independence and finances. Her story raises questions about control in the industry, while even controversial figures can display unexpected acts, complicating public perceptions of power and character.